Hi, Emily here, and welcome to our chair yoga. Find your chair, preferably one without any sides. Go ahead and find a pillow or something that would work that you could place in your lap for a little bit of extra height and support underneath the belly. And I'm going to turn my chair to the side just a little bit so that you can see some different shapes, but have yours set up facing me. And we're going to start with the feet planted down on the ground, the knees over the ankles, and trying to take some of this rounding out of the low back. We're really working to sit up nice and tall today. We're going to find some nice chest opening, heart opening to help us find a little lightness, a little bit more ability to cultivate our love and share that. So planting your feet down, hands can relax in the lap. You might close the eyes. You might soften the gaze and take it down to the ground. We'll just start with a little bit of time here to arrive, to lightly press the feet down, lightly press your seat into the chair. And from that pressing down, you can lift the spine up a little taller. The shoulders lift up away from the lap. They open up to either side. The back of the head is long. The neck is stretching lightly back, lightly up. Might take a little sigh and check in with how you're feeling today. Noticing what is here for you physically, mentally, and emotionally. You might notice if there's any tension in the jaw, the neck, the shoulders, the chest, the belly. Tension or uneasiness or a weight. Maybe it is the opposite and they are free and open and light. Whatever you find, take notice. And we're going to start to move up and down the spine in rounds of what are like cat and cow shapes. You might take the hands out and you can open the eyes, but maybe you reclose them. You're going to round the spine and letting the low back drop a little towards the chair, letting the shoulders come down towards your lap. You can let the chin fall into the chest a little. Hands reach out in front of you. You could clasp the hands and press the palm of the hands away. As you inhale, open up. We're going to pause up here for a breath, really letting the belly come more towards the lap, the arms more up and overhead. An amount that feels right on the shoulders. The gaze could start to go up towards the sky. Even turning the head with the eyes closed is great. And then we'll move one breath, exhale, rounding in. Inhale, press into your feet, press into the seat, sit up tall, and then a little back bend, the hands coming up overhead. Exhale, curling in, really press the back of the spine back behind you, reach the fingers out far away from the shoulders. Inhale, open up, and you might be moving a little bit faster, a little bit slower with your own breath. Exhale, round in. Inhaling, open up. Exhale, curling in. Maybe the motions get a little bigger as you warm up. Inhale, lifting. Exhale, rounding. Nice. Inhale, open up your little back bend. You're tilting the pelvis forward and you're sticking the butt back just a little bit. As you round in, you're tucking the pelvis under. You're making a little space for the low back here. Inhale, reaching up. Nice. And next time, come with the torso upright. The hands reach up and overhead. So nice tall spine. Just get a little bit of that side stretch. are picking something up off the top shelf or reaching for a ladder, getting some nice stretch through the sides of the body, bending the opposite elbow as much as you like here. Kind of going the opposite direction instead of moving the spine forward and back. A little bit of this lateral bending. Nice. And then reach the hands up. And then exhale, turn the chest over to the right side. We're finding our twist now. The right hand can come back behind you, maybe tent the fingers up. You could hold on to the back of the chair. Bring the left hand outside of the right leg, the palm facing away. So the back of the hand is on the leg. And use that as a little leverage to sit up a little taller. And exhale, turn a little bit more. Maybe the gaze goes over your right shoulder, if that's okay on the neck. Let the shoulders come away from the ears. Turn the right shoulder back, the left shoulder forward, finding this twisting action in the spine now around the heart. One more breath here. Your next inhale, reach the arms back up overhead as you turn through center. And right away, exhale, turn the other way. The chest heading over towards the left fingertips back behind you, maybe holding onto the chair somewhere. The back of the right hand on the outside of left leg, helping to turn the chest. Roll the left shoulder back. The right shoulder's coming forward. They're spreading out, getting a nice spread across the front of the heart, back on the shoulder blades. Couple breaths here. You might have let your chin come into the chest just like I did. Can you lift the chin? Make sure the chin is level as you look over your shoulder. One more breath here. Inhale, arms back overhead. Come back through center. Exhale, hands into the lap and start to fold over the legs. Any amount for this first round. Letting the back round, maybe the forearms find the thighs. Some people will have more space and the hands will slide down the legs, letting the chin fall into the chest. There could be a light rocking side to side here. Maybe letting the neck roll one ear to one shoulder than the other. If the hands were reaching long down towards the ground, begin to walk them up and the hands into the lap. We'll do a couple of rounds of half sun salutation. So we start nice and tall seated, pressing the feet down into the ground. Inhale, bring the arms out to the sides, up and overhead. Exhale, hands through heart center and round in, fold over the legs a little. Let the chin come into the chest. Inhale, press the hands into the thighs, lift the heart forward. There's a little bit of that back bend action. Exhale, round back in. You could always be doing this standing. Inhale, sitting upright, the arms sweep up, out to the sides. And as you exhale, the arms reach back out to either side, finding yourself back seated. If you'd like to stand, inhale, reaching up. And exhale, folding over the legs, whether you're standing or seated. Hands sliding down. Inhale, press into the legs, whether you're seated or standing, lifting the heart forward. Exhale, round the spine back in. Inhale, press into the feet. You sit or stand up tall. The arms sweep out to the sides. And exhale, the arms back down by the sides. Seated tall or standing tall. Flowing through again. Inhale, sweeping arms up. Exhale, hands through heart center, fold over. Inhale, press into the legs, lift the heart halfway. Exhale, round back in. Inhale, press in, lift the arms, sweep them out to the side. Exhale, back by the sides. Once more like this. Inhale, sweeping arms up. Exhale, folding over, hands through heart center. Inhale, lifting halfway. Exhale, round in. Inhale, press into the feet, sweep the arms out to the side. Exhale, arms back down by the sides. Come to a tall, comfortable seat and scoot back in your chair. Come to sit. If you are standing, scoot back. Hopefully with your chair, you can get to a comfortable spot if you need to add something underneath your feet so that they're a little bit higher, so you can really nestle your low back and your seat right up against the back of the chair. So go ahead and find that and lean back so that the backs of the shoulder blades are on the seat of the chair. Sorry, little cricks and creaks here on my end from my chair. And you might notice, you might even slide your hands behind the back. Notice where there's a little space in between the back and the seat of the chair. We're going to do a couple of things here. So bring the hands out in front of you, height of the elbows, the palm face up. So hands are right in front of the elbows, the palm face up, the thumbs out to either side. And here, just start to draw the elbows down towards the ground. As you draw the elbows down to the ground, you're engaging the muscles here on the inside of the ribs, also the muscles on the back side of the arms to help hug the elbows into the side of the body, and you naturally will open up across the front of the collarbones. So keep drawing the elbows down to the ground, feeling a light stretch here across the collarbone, and then start to take the thumbs out to either side. Taking the thumbs out to either side, that's going to feel like a lot of stretch. You're still hugging the elbows into the side of the body. They're not touching. The upper arm is touching somewhere probably on the side of the ribs. Elbows draw down, thumbs pull out to either side, palms face up, fingers spread wide. And you might notice that the middle of the back and the shoulder blades are starting to come off the back of the chair. And you're having a little bit more space between the back and the seat of the chair. I'd like you to try to press the shoulders and the back into the seat of the chair. So you're engaging a little bit here on the front side of the abdomen, and you're pressing the back into the seat of the chair. You're keeping your chin up and away from the chest. Lots of little things going on. Draw the elbows down, pull the thumbs out to the sides, press the back of the ribs into the back of the chair. Take a couple breaths here. You're seated up nice and tall with support of the chair and that guidance of the chair of drawing the front of the ribs into the body, pressing back into the back of the chair and opening across the heart. Nice. Another breath here. Go ahead and start to press less of the back into the chair. The hands come back out in front, the thumbs. Stop pulling out to the sides. Give the wrists a little roll. You can loosen the press of the arms into the ribs. And then find your hands on either side of your hips, pressing down into the seat of the chair. And go ahead and wiggle your back up the chair with whatever creaks come with your chair. So you're sitting up really nice and tall. And then we're going to actually try to add that flare in now. So press your feet into the ground or whatever is underneath the feet. And start to engage the glute muscles, pressing your seat firmly down into the chair. That might already give you a little bit of a lift. And then go ahead and start to press the shoulders into the chair. You might even be hugging the upper arms into the sides of the chair. And start to press the front of the ribs out and away. And I'm really pressing right here behind the shoulders into the chair. I'm using the hands on the chair seat to help keep me lifted so I'm not crunching in as I start to press my belly button out and towards my knees. So I'm keeping lots of length in the spine. Maybe my chin comes a little further away from the chest. Maybe my gaze is starting to go towards the top kind of corner edge of the ceiling and the wall meeting. I'm pressing my backs of my shoulders into the chair. I'm sitting up tall and pressing into my feet. My glutes are engaged. I'm finding this little back bend here with all this support. Finding this little curve here from my seat, belly button probably furthest away, and then the top of the shoulders pressing in. Nice. Keep all of this for another breath. And then go ahead and start to let the back side of the body press into the chair and do the opposite for a couple of breaths. Just like we were doing before, really press the middle of the back into the chair. Even draw really firmly at the belly button and lower so that the low back is pressing into the chair. So take a couple breaths there. You're still pressing into the feet. You're still kind of engaged in the glutes underneath you. There might be a little slight tuck of the tailbone scooping underneath you. Nice. And then we're going to find that opening again. So press into the feet, press into the glutes, press into the fingertips to help get a little taller. Start to take the belly button out away, only as much as it feels okay on the low back. Really puffing forward, pressing into the tops of the shoulders, the gaze starting to go up. Nice. Press into the feet, press into the seat, lift the belly, lift the chest. One more big breath here. Nice. And go ahead and soften all of that. And you're going to lean forward just a little bit. Take your left hand, the back of the hand, somewhere along your back. Some people will have room to bring it right along the spine. So my left hand is behind my back, and I'm going to try to see if I could bring the back of my hand up the middle of the spine, heading up in between my shoulder blades. Anywhere along the back, up as far as is comfortable for your shoulder. The fingers might start to point up a little bit more towards my head instead of off to the side. And then you're going to find the back of the hand, the palm of the hand, the back of the hand is against your back, and the palm of the hand is going to start to press against the seat of the chair. So you have your hand somewhere behind you. You're sitting up now in your chair with the palm of the hand on the back of the chair. Your right hand can be somewhere rested in the lap. And then once you're here, give the shoulder a little roll. Roll your left shoulder so that maybe some more of the left shoulder presses against the chair. Maybe the elbow points off a little bit more to the side, even pulling back behind you. And the tendency will be let the front of the ribs come forward, adding that back bend. Do the opposite. Try to draw from the front ribs back, and you're actually adding a little pressure onto the hand behind your back. And you're rolling the left shoulder back. Some people, this feels really intense on the front of the shoulder while we're in the pose. For some people, it might feel really intense when we come out of it. We'll come out really slowly. So you could have this hand on the front of the ribs, the belly, to be lightly pressing back into your hand. Roll the left shoulder back, a couple breaths here. Make sure the chin isn't tucked down into the chest. Lift it up. Back of the neck is long. Maybe with the hand on the belly, you really feel your breath in here. And breath out, pressing back. One more breath here. Okay, go ahead and stop pressing quite as hard of the back into the hand. So you might be able to wiggle the fingers a little bit behind the back. And you're going to start to wiggle the hand down the back. You can still be pressed up against the seat of the chair. You're just wiggling the hand down. And eventually the hand slides out and slides on top of the left leg. Pause there, just let it readjust. And then when you're ready, you can start to give the shoulder a little bit more of a roll, maybe reach it up and out to the side, roll the wrist, and check in with how that felt for the shoulder. And we're going to do it all on the other side. So the right hand now comes back behind you. The back of the hand is resting on your back. The hand will come towards the middle of the spine and up towards the shoulder blades. Maybe the fingers point up, and you might notice that it's a little different side to side, just in terms of the flexibility of your shoulder. You find a spot that feels pretty good, and then you sit back in your chair. You start to put the palm of the hand on the back of the chair. You press down into your feet, press down into your seat, engage the glutes, and maybe a hand comes to the front of the ribs. You start to press the ribs into the hand. Roll the right shoulder back. Try to draw the right elbow out to the right side, maybe a little back behind you. Couple of breaths here. Pressing the back of the ribs into your hand. Chin coming a little off the chest, maybe the gaze even starting to go up. Roll the right shoulder back, press the back of the right shoulder into the chair. That spot right kind of where the armpit meets. It's created by the arm and the shoulder meeting. Nice. Big breath in here. Big breath out. One more inhale. And exhale, start to press a little lightly into the hand. Start to let the ribs come a little forward. Wiggle the fingers. Start to slide the hand down towards your seat. The hand slides back around the front, coming into your lap. Rest there. Roll the right shoulder. Nice. Maybe roll it quite a bit. And let's actually roll both shoulders now. Get a little bit of our back shoulder rolls. Maybe start to alternate so it becomes a little bit more of a back stroke. You can start to pick up the arms, reach them up and behind you overhead. Beautiful. And start to make smaller circles. Hands starting to rest down in the lap. And I'll move to face you again. Coming to sit now facing, let's face off over to the right side. The right foot coming off the side of the chair. Find our lunge type shape. The right ankle under the right knee. Start to sneak the left foot back behind you. The heel coming up over the ball of the foot. And you can have a nice bend of the left knee. Maybe the left knee is right underneath the left hip. And sitting right on the edge of the chair, so your right thigh and seat are supported. You can use the hands to help guide the hips a little bit more over towards the right. And maybe the hands slide up, help the ribs turn over to the right side. Beautiful. Nice. Take some breaths here. You could be doing this standing, starting to press a little bit more into the right foot, starting to hover, pressing back through the left heel. Staying seated is great. Take the hands behind your back. Interlace the fingers if that's available to you, bringing the right thumb on top. If it's better for you to kind of wing the arms back behind you, do that. Roll the shoulders back. Gently draw the elbows in towards each other. Press into your right foot, engage your right glutes. So maybe you grow a little taller here, and then maybe you start to puff the chest a little bit forward. And you can keep the fist anchoring right down on your low back, that's flat part, the sacrum. And there's a little light pressure down, a little light pressure forward. There's a really light tucking of your tail underneath you, trying to press the hips a little bit forward. Take a couple more breaths here. This little opening in our lunge, probably feeling a nice, good stretch here in the front of the left thigh. Long, steady breaths. Nice. If the hands were clasped behind the back or wings, start to let the shoulders come roll in a little bit further, the hands to the right leg. Oh, and we'll just come through the center here. Take the feet out wide for a moment, the toes pointing out to either direction. Feet about as wide as the width of your chair, maybe a little wider. Take a moment here in our goddess shape. You could be doing this standing with the seat lifted off of the chair. Just press into the hands on the top of the thighs to lift the spine up nice and tall. Nice. And then we'll head over to the left side. The left foot coming off the left side, ankle underneath the knee, the right foot sneaking back behind you, the right heel over the right ankle, the right toes, and maybe the right knee right underneath the hip or a little bit further back. You're right on the edge of the seat, maybe starting to press into the left foot to hover off of the chair. You can use the hands to help encourage the ribs to face a little bit more right over the left knee. Hands can come behind the back, either winging the arms back behind you or interlace the fingers, the left thumb on top this time. Roll the shoulders back behind you. Gently squeeze your bent elbows towards each other and a light pressure here. And you're trying not to let the belly kind of drop down towards the thigh and have this tilt of the pelvis. I actually want to lift my low belly away from the thigh. There's a little tucking of the tail, a little scooping under. And from there, then I can lift up, grow the spine. Take a couple more deep breaths. Beautiful. Okay. Go ahead and soften the press of the hands into the back, releasing the fingers, letting them slide back into the lap. Turning back to face through center. And this time, sit right on the edge of your chair and take the legs out long in front of you. Pick the toes up so you're resting the weight on the heels. Toes pulling up and in, pressing the heels down, lengthening the legs. The feet could be a little bit closer, a little bit wider apart. Hands come to the seat of the chair and just sit up really nice and tall. It's what would be called kind of staff pose if we were seated down on the ground. Spine it up nice and tall, getting some length in the back of the legs. Some people will want to roll the ankles a little here, point the toes out to either side, point and flex them. Maybe give the ankles this roll in and out. Any little movements that feel good for the ankles, the toes, or maybe just staying here, really getting this length in the back of the legs. One more breath here. There's a light squeezing of the elbows back behind you. Nice. Go ahead and start to bend one knee then the other and face back over the right side. And you might find right away your high lunge shape if you're standing, setting it up here. And we'll actually have the knee quite bent if you're seated with the right seat down on the ground. And try to draw the left knee a little bit forward. So you're pushing the left knee forward. So you actually will add automatically a little bit of that tuck as you try to draw the knee forward. And you might even feel a deeper stretch here on the front of the hip flexor. There's that light tucking. And go ahead and take your hands right where mine are. It's like I have my hands in like a little imaginary jean pockets on the back side. The fingers are pointing down. I start to turn my chest back towards my right knee. Now that I've got that set up, I'm trying to pull the left knee forward, a little tuck. That pressure of the hands on the low back can help find that. And then I'm gonna add a little bit more of that puff of the chest forward. I'm starting to press the front of my ribs forward, but keeping my low belly lifted up away from the right thigh. I'm hugging the elbows back behind me. I'm trying to find length even as I bend forward. So I want lots of space for my low back. Whew, a lot of work here, even if you're resting on the chair. Couple more breaths. Focusing on whichever part of this is feeling right for you, whether it's the stretch on the front of the hip flexor, the hug of the elbows, the opening of the chest, pressing the right foot down, the right leg engaged. Nice. Right away, we'll go ahead and turn this into a warrior two. You can sneak the hands off of the low back. Start to take the bottom of the left foot down on the ground. The foot might need to come a little bit further away from you. The left toes are pointing a little bit up and over towards the right foot. And you're starting to lengthen the leg. And right away, you might find that you're leaning a little bit over the right leg. Can you press into the right foot? Try to bring the torso more upright. You might use your hands to help spin the ribs a little bit further away from the right. You can take the arms out long. You could be doing this standing, of course. Finding a warrior two, Virabhadrasana 2 shape. Maybe gazing over the right fingertips. Reaching either set of fingers out behind you, in front of you. Create that opening across the collarbones here. Create width all the way around the circumference of the ribs. Breathe nice and big and deep. You can even take the hands here into the sides of the ribs and then contracting in. Expanding out and contracting in. Nice. Bring your hands back to the hips. And I really want you to press into the feet, engage your glute muscles, press your glute muscles into the seat of the chair if you're sitting there. And then keep this length, press down with the hands. I have my thumbs wrapped around the backside, my pointer finger pointing in towards my belly button. I'm pressing lightly down with this kind of like nice little brace I've created with my pointer and my thumb. I'm anchoring down, and then I'm going to start to let my left shoulder come back towards my left foot. That anchoring down, I'm keeping space for my low back. I'm keeping the lift of my chest. I'm starting to get a little bit more of a side bend, this C shape on the right side of my ribs. I might keep the left hand right where it is, rooting down. I can reach my right arm up and overhead, finding our reverse warrior two. The palm facing down towards the left foot. I'm pressing down into my right foot. I'm lifting the right side of the ribs up and away from the right knee. I'm keeping my left shoulder rolled back away from my ear. Another big breath here. Bring the right hand back to the right thigh. Bring the torso upright. Slowly start to walk the left foot back in. We'll come back through the center and just take the feet out, maybe a little bit wider than the hips. And you might just let the knees wash from side to side here between the two sides. Any amount. Kind of shifting on your seat as much as feels good to let the knees go out and in. Just check in with how it's feeling. And then making your way to face over off the left side. Either setting up to stand or sit for our lunge shape with the knee nice and bent. The right toes, heel over the toes, the left ankle under the left knee. Slide your hands onto your low back into their little pockets. And again, try to draw the right knee down and then try to draw it forward. And as you press the right knee forward and the right hips really underneath the seat, scoop just a little bit underneath you. You might feel a pretty active stretch on the front of the right thigh. Your hands in their little pockets. Press same way with that little kind of brace right between your thumb and your pointer. Anchor down a little bit. And as you anchor down, lift the spine up a little taller. Sometimes it helps to do a little wiggle or shimmy. Turn the chest back over towards the left knee. And then maybe you start to draw the elbows a little further back, maybe without just dumping and dropping the belly forward. Can you lift up? Can you start to press the front of the ribs forward, press the chest forward, the gaze starting to go up. You lift and then you bend from that lift. Take several breaths here. Again, options to do this standing as well in your high lunge. The same concepts apply. Long, steady breaths. 2 more here. Go ahead and soften and bring the shoulders back over the hips. Lean a little bit over the left thigh. Start to take the right foot back behind you, maybe a little further away from the front edge of the seat towards whatever you're using as your viewing device. And the right toes point up a little bit towards the left foot. Try to bring as much of the bottom of the foot down on the ground as you can. You can lift the torso a little more upright, right over your pelvis, away from the left knee. Really press back through the outer pinky side of the right foot. Might use your hands to help turn the ribs away from the left knee. Press the left knee lightly out and towards the pinky side. You can stay right here. Hands on the hips can be wonderful, or taking the arms out, height of the shoulders, reaching out through the fingers. The left fingers reaching forward, the right fingers reaching back. Find space across the front and back side of the shoulders as you turn the chest away from left knee. 3 more breaths here. Shoulders drop away from ears with every exhalation. Hands make their way to the hips. Thumbs towards the back, pointer finger towards your belly button. Find that little nice brace. Wrap it around your waist. Really not your waist is up here. This is really around the top of the hips, the top of the seat. Press down. And from that pressing down, can you wiggle and grow the spine a little higher, a little taller? You're still turning the chest lightly away from the left knee. And then maybe you start to let the right shoulder lean back towards the right foot. Could stay right here with the right hand anchoring the right low back and seat down. Maybe pick up the left hand, the palm facing back and behind you, the thumb pointing towards the back of your chair. And start to breathe a little bit more into the left side of the ribs, bumping the left side of the ribs towards the left knee. Several breaths here. This is our reverse warrior. Still pressing firmly down into the left foot. The left glute is engaged very strongly, even if you're seated. Maybe reach the left fingers up a little higher. Let the right shoulder roll back. Nice. One breath here. Go ahead and take the arch, bend out of the side of the body, shoulders over the hips. You can use your hands to help gently bring the right foot back in and turn towards center. And we're going to find our seated figure four shape, because that was actually quite a lot of work if you were really pressing into the feet for the glutes and on the hips. So go ahead and draw your left knee up and into your chest. Find your stable spot right on the edge of the chair. Give your ankle a roll, point and flex. Always option to do this standing. You'll be a balancing shape if you try this standing. Pulse the knee up and down a couple of times into the chest. The right hand can come to the C. You can make these big circles. One direction. And then the other. Maybe keeping the knee out to the side for a moment, just doing whatever feels right for you and your hip socket, and eventually making your way back into the center. And then the left ankle goes on top of the right thigh, just like we've done many times, adding some padding in between the ankle and the thigh if that would feel better for you. Use your hands on the seat to lift your chest. There's that pressing forward from your lift here, that little bit of a back bend. Might even stay here, trying to hug the elbows back behind you. Maybe you bring the forearms to the lap. Maybe you start to slide so the belly is resting on the legs. Some people will have the space to fold over the legs, the hands coming down towards the ground. Maybe the chin turns into the chest. Take some time here to let the hip loosen and ease in. Maybe you soften the shoulders a little. Maybe you roll the neck from one shoulder to the other. Take 3 more long breaths here. If the hands are reaching down towards the ground, start to walk them back up towards the lap. Place the hands on the thighs, press into the foot, lift the chest up. And just for a moment, slide and cross your legs a little bit more. Squeeze the inner thighs together. Maybe you start to squeeze the calves together. A little compression, hugging everything into the middle of the body, sitting up tall. And then carefully, with the help of the hands, sliding the left foot back down to the ground. Sit up tall for a moment, maybe the eyes even closed, just to notice how the left side of the body feels. And when you're ready, lift up the right knee, hug it into the chest. You can give it a couple of pulses, using your hand on the seat of the chair for a little support, rolling the ankle, pointing and flexing. You probably know what things feel good for you here. You can make some circles with the knee heading out to the sides. And then back in. Come back in towards the center. Hug the knee up and in for a moment. And when you're ready, crossing the right ankle over the left thigh. Start to let the knee come out to the side. Check in. And if it doesn't feel good to drop it down super far, then don't. You could even have the hand underneath the right knee for a little bit of help lifting it up if it doesn't feel great to let it fall out. Hands could be on the seat of the chair, helping to press your seat down, lift the spine up nice and tall, grow a little taller, wiggle up, and then maybe folding a little over the legs, adjusting the legs along the way, the hands maybe pressing down on the thighs, maybe the forearms resting. Maybe you start to fold and drape over the legs, the hands coming down towards the ground. Any level here of distance from the ground, higher may be better for you. Maybe better for you on this side. Couple breaths here. Last breath here. Hands sliding back up to the lap, pressing into the hands, sitting all the way upright. And then again, slide your legs so they're across, the knees stacking, the right foot sliding down to the ground. And then whether the foot is even close to the other calf doesn't matter, but squeeze the inner thighs together. That squeezing in action will probably drop the foot down towards the ground. Maybe you start to press the knees or calves into each other a little. Maybe the lower calf or the foot, wherever's meeting, squeeze in, hug in for a moment. And then soften that, help to let the foot slide over and back down to the ground. And if you're choosing to stay seated, what I'll ask is that you, if you have available a wall, to see if you can slide your chair right up against a wall. I'm going to show here from the side, but any wall will do. And you're going to come back seated, maybe your toes brush right up against the edge of the wall here, and bring your hands palm down onto the wall, about the same height as your shoulders, and start to walk the hands up, finding length. Some people will walk the hands out a little wider to give the shoulders some space. But start to walk them up, and as you walk them further up, start to let the belly come towards the thighs, letting the chest come towards the wall. Maybe so much that the forehead rests on the wall. And we're finding a little bit of a back bend here, just making sure that whatever's happening in the low back isn't causing any pain. So you might be really pressing the feet down into the ground, rooting the seat down to help create that little bit of activation here. But some people, it's going to feel okay to really just rest into the weight of the hands on the wall. So find that option if that's the right one for you. If you want to do this standing, you can come to stand behind your chair with your hands on the seat or the back top edge of the chair. And you're walking your feet back behind you. It's kind of like our standing downward facing dog, but today really see if you can let the chest drop down. Maybe you walk the feet in a little closer. Maybe there's a bend of the knees. Looking for this nice big stretch here on the front of the shoulders. Just being really conscious of what's happening in your low back. For some people, kind of really letting the tail stick up behind them. Resting the belly on the thighs will feel good. Other people, you're going to want to protect the low back just a little more by tucking and kind of scooping under. Find a shape where you can be for, let's say, 5 breaths here. Maybe find somewhere to rest the forehead or really let the head hang in between the arms if you're here. Folding forward, but looking for a little bit of a back bend. A little opening of the chest, really from the center of the chest, either drawing down towards the ground or up and towards the wall if you're seated. Take 3 more breaths. If you are standing, bend your knees quite a lot. Really press the palm of the hand into the chair. You might roll up part way and then bring your hands, one or both, to the legs for a little bit of extra support, even the low back. Come out of it really nice and slowly. And if you're pressing up from the wall to seated, do that just as carefully. You might rest the hands right in the low back, a little support. We're going to stay standing upright or sitting upright in a mountain type shape. Just for a moment here to help the spine recalibrate to being up nice and tall. Couple breaths here. Beautiful. And then we're going to take a nice little bit of a restorative forward fold. So find whatever you were using, thinking about using in your lap as like a little pillow. And you could have the chair right up near the wall, just like you had, or even scoot it up there. Take the feet out any distance, hips distance, maybe a little further, and nestle your pillow, and it could be several, it could be blankets, it could be something else, right up in your lap, and try to nestle it right up and against your low belly. Sit up nice and tall, and then you're going to start to fold over whatever that support is. And maybe you adjust and you add more height. Maybe here, resting the forehead against the door or wall feels really great. And maybe you kind of just let the arms rest in the lap. This could be nice if you need it up a little higher. For me, I can just flip this, but maybe you kind of have a stack of pillows so it's resting all the way up and into your upper ribs and you're folding over here. Maybe you have a little more room to fold deeper towards the ground, but achieving the same sensation. You could rest over the support. Maybe you drape the arms down. Find somewhere that you can fold over, whether the arms are draping down, the forearms are resting on support. Let the chin come into the chest and fold over. The opposite action of that opening across the heart. We're now letting the shoulders curl in a little bit, almost a little protection around the front of the heart. Letting the shoulders drop away from the ears. And breathing really deeply into your belly, the belly pressing against whatever pillows and things you have in your lap. As you press the belly into the pillows, you might feel a spread on the low back, maybe the middle back or the upper back, depending on how you're folding over. Constriction on the front side to add a little opening on the back. Adjust if you have found that you're not comfortable now. Maybe that means coming up a little higher, maybe moving away from the wall or taking a pillow off. Maybe softening the jaw, soften tension in the shoulders. Take a little bit more time here. You're welcome to stay a little longer. When it's time for you, press lightly the feet into the ground to help to start engage the muscles up into the legs a little more. Pressing the hands into something, sliding them back up to the lap, and coming to sit up nice and tall. Pause there. And you might place your pillow and support off to the side. We're going to do some stretching for the neck. So coming to sit up tall on the edge of your seat, the feet out in front of you. And you can slide both hands to just rest on the outside of the hips. Maybe they can slide into their little jean pockets. And let the shoulders come up towards the ears and then just give them a nice roll down. Lightly hug the elbows in towards each other. And instead of letting the belly button poke forward towards the thighs, can you draw it up? And then you can let the chin fall down into the chest. Let the back of the neck be nice and long. Draw the shoulders away from the ears. Take several breaths here. And then with the chin still tucked into the chest, let the right ear come a little bit more towards the right shoulder. Really draw the left elbow away from the left ear. Chin back in through center. Left ear towards left shoulder, chin into the chest. Draw the right elbow down to the ground and off to the side. Soften the draw of the right elbow down, chin back through center. And then now let the nose point up away from the ground as the right ear comes towards the right shoulder, moving from less of the back of the neck to the side of the left neck. Again, draw the left elbow down to the ground, roll it slightly back. Another breath or two here. Soften the press of the elbow. Let the nose point down to the ground. Roll the chin through center. Left ear towards left shoulder. Lift the nose up. Feel the stretch in the right side of the neck. Maybe you even, if you took your hand there, you'd feel that kind of ropey engagement, and the right elbow rolling back behind you, the shoulder rolling, drawing down. Couple breaths here. Soften the draw of the right elbow down. Let the chin come back down through center. You might take your hands off of your low back and find your hands to the top of the shoulders and give yourself just a little massage here using the thumb and the rest of the fingers. You can massage the top of the shoulders. You might come up the sides of the neck, up and towards that ridge on the back of the skull. And try not to push the head down into the lap. There's a direction of lengthening the head away from the shoulders in line with the spine. So at an angle, it's actually up, not down. One more breath here. Gently bringing one or both hands to the front of the forehead, helping to bring the forehead more upright, the head stacked on top of shoulders, shoulders on top of hips. Notice and press the feet down into the ground. Press the hips down. You might take one last time this little nice brace between the thumb and the pointer finger in towards your belly button, pressing right along the crest on the top of the hips down. And lift the spine up tall, the elbows drawing out to either side. Find some space across the front of the collarbones, behind the shoulder blades. You're not trying to squeeze the elbows back behind you so that the shoulder blades pinch. Elbows draw out to either side. The brace of the thumb and pointer drawing the hips down, pelvis down, spine up. Maybe you close the eyes. If you have the hands on the hips, soften the press of the hands down, just letting the hands relax in the lap. The eyes can close or gaze down towards the ground. We do a check-in. Noticing if anything immediate is different. Maybe notice if you feel any lightness or awareness anywhere in the body. Maybe some awareness of an openness across the front of the chest, the back of the shoulder blades, the sides of the ribs, all the way around this cage, the rib cage that protects your heart. But also has the ability to expand, to let things in and out. Follow your breath, watching as you breathe in, the body makes space. As you breathe out, there's a little softening. Breathing in, expansion. Breathing out, settling back in. Breathing in, maybe the ribs press lightly into arms. Breathing out, the arms rest on outside of ribs. Breathing in. Breathing out. In. and out. When you are ready, bring your hands to heart center. Palms could rest one top of the other, maybe the palms pressed together. I'll take a big clearing breath here. Big inhale through the nose. Open the mouth, let the air fall out. Let's do one more like that. Big inhale, fill up. Open the mouth, let the air come out empty. Bow your head into your hands, into your heart. Thanking yourself and each other for taking this time to move, to breathe, to connect. I hope you found a little extra expansion, a little opening. And if you can, if you have a little bit of extra to offer, consider taking that and sharing it in whatever way. When you are ready, lift the head, let the hands relax. Slowly blink the eyes open if they were closed. Maybe a little smile to yourself, each other. I thank you so much, and be well. Let me know if you need anything.